Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. My name is Joshua Betancourt, and this is Paradigm Shifting, where we discuss topics related to neurolinguistic programming, conscientiousness, systems theory, meditation, really a culmination of multiple modalities, right? Multiple techniques, all with the intent of improving the quality of your relationships and essentially the quality of your life. So I'm excited today about the episode that we're presenting because we're going to be discussing focus. And we'll be talking about a few different techniques and exercises that you can do to enhance your ability to focus your mind, thoughts, and your emotions. And we'll also discuss some potential fruits that you might be able to expect to experience from this practice. So again, thank you for joining me. I'm really happy that you're here. I sincerely am. And again, this is Paradigm Shifting. Cool. So yeah, thanks for joining me. And we are going to be talking about focus today. I thought it was an important topic to share, and that there are so many benefits and fruits that come from being able to hone your focus and being able to leverage it, right, in your life. So the topic came up because I have been reading some of Franz Bardon's stuff, some of his work. And, I've noticed that as I've practiced some of his recommendations that I've been able to reduce kind of the frequency of thought that's in my mind. So I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. So let me share that and then see, if other people can take advantage of those same practices. So why do we do it? And I guess I should take a step back, right, and talk a little bit about the science of it. So I think back in the 70s or 60s it was, a couple of scientists were doing some experiments to understand how the brain functions whenever we get into a peak state of relaxation. And the strangest thing happened. They found that when people were in a meditative state or in a peak state, that other areas of the brain began to light up and activate more than usual. And these areas were kind of related to memory, planning, language, social cues, and most importantly, consciousness. So it was a gentleman by the name of David Ingvar who kind of took it a step forward because he just wanted to explore it more and really started digging deep into the idea that there are certain parts of your brain that become more highly activated and highly active whenever we reach these meditative states. And Bardon takes it even a little bit further in the sense that as you kind of develop this capability and as you develop this skill set, that there's just a significant amount of benefit that comes from being able to hone your emotions, hone your attention, and completely focus. So some of the benefits are, if you're able to focus and perform a single activity at once, right, you're able to accomplish it quicker. You produce higher quality work, right? You reduce stress. And the other really cool thing about it is that you recruit your subconscious. So let me give a couple of examples of stories. I was cleaning my house the other day, and I, for some reason, just felt inspired and compelled. I turned on some music and really got into the moment of just enjoying the moment. And it seemed like I hit that, that focus flow, right? That focus state where time just flew by. It didn't even feel like I was cleaning my house. I ended up cleaning my whole house in like 2.5 hours or something like that. But I had gotten to this state of focus in doing so, right? And in doing that, when you're in that state, you do produce higher quality work because your mind isn't jumping from one place to the next, right? So you are more attentive to what it is that the task is at hand. And then it also reduces stress, right? Because as we all know, when we try to multitask, right, and not to say that multitasking is a bad thing, sometimes it's needed, but as we try to multitask, Um, we find that we potentially can make mistakes, right? Our timelines aren't met usually. There's just a myriad of things that could possibly happen that make that state of operation less effective, I might say, or it could be argued, but less effective than being focused. So that was it. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit kind of about that, and then lead into some of the practices and benefits, right, related to this. So they found that there was a particular, those scientists that were doing the work, and David Ingar's team that was doing the work, found that there was a particular type of meditation that you could do to actually increase your capabilities, right, to increase your skill as it relates to focus. And what it was called particularly was focused attention meditation. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. So if any of you have heard of transcendental meditation, it's a technique that you use where you focus on a particular word that has absolutely no meaning, right? Or any object that has no meaning will serve the same benefit and same purpose. And the whole idea is just to get into a relaxed state as much as you possibly can and focus on that meaningless word. And anytime that your attention deviates from that, you notice it and then bring it back. So that's one way of, conducting a focused attention meditation. The other option is to do what's really popular right now, and everybody's doing a lot of breath work, right? So there's Wim Hof and quite a few other people out there speaking to the benefit of focusing on your breathing while you're meditating, right? And you can develop specific patterns or what have you. So a lot of people think that, or are saying that, there's many benefits that come from that. So that's another example of focused attention meditation. But Bardone takes it a little bit further in the sense that he really talks about the idea of being able to control your mind. And what I've been doing over the last couple of days has been this practice of waking up and observing how quickly the world rushes into my mind, right? And noticing how much time elapses between this peaceful state of awakening where there is very little thought, if any, right, to the point where my mind is active. And I'm actually, noticing the different levels of progression as far as brain states, right, where you're going from, delta to theta to beta to alpha. So that's the first thing that you can do is begin to notice that. And then the second thing that he recommends as a practice is to be the observer. And Eckhart talks about this in his books, which is to act as an external entity and observe all of the thoughts that come up in your mind. So what this does is this really allows you to have a stronger connection with your consciousness, and it gives you an opportunity to separate yourself from the activity that takes place in your mind. And you'll find that it's like extremely relaxing and it's like very rewarding. And afterwards, you feel almost re-energized and at a deep sense of peace. So the practice should be that you try to observe what's taking place within your mind, starting for 5 minutes, right? And just notice it. And eventually build that up to 10 minutes of observation. And yeah, that's it, right? And so in doing this, you develop focus and you kind of are able to differentiate the processing between kind of the executive mind versus the default mode network. So I didn't mention the default mode network, but the default mode network is the network of your brain that they found once you kind of get into this relaxed state, when you start to experience this influx of all this other activity that's taking place within all those other areas of the brain, though that's called the default mode network. And it can be beneficial, but it can be detrimental as well. Beneficial in the sense that that's the space where you get into the creative flow, right? Where you get into that focused flow and lots of ideas come from it. But there's also a correlation to people who have a strong tendency to lean towards, trauma or depression or negative thoughts. The default mode network can also revert back to that and causing that kind of repetitive thought process related to those experiences. So the meditation aspect and the work that we were just talking about is something that can counter that and will allow you to redirect your attention and redirect your focus. So what are the fruits, right? Well, anything that we want to accomplish requires focus. And the more that we're able to focus and the more that we're able to direct our emotions and our mind towards the task at hand, the more available options become to us and flexibility that we have around how to go about accomplishing that task. And that relates to developing relationships where they're necessary, utilizing our resources, utilizing our knowledge and what we already know. Yeah, so that's kind of it. That was the message for today around focus. So I really appreciate you guys spending some time with me. This is Joshua Betancourt, and thanks for being here with me on Paradigm Shifting. All right, take care.